Hi, I'm Mandy Fisher, and you're listening to another VO podcast.
Believe it or not, it's another VO podcast with three guys who are full-time voice actors at different stages of life, career, and location.
But they have formed a bond and work together to hold each other accountable and help each other on their VO path.
Three guys from different backgrounds working together, helping each other, and sharing with you along the way.
Hey, what are we calling it again?
It's another VO podcast.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I get it. Come on, you're not my dads.
And welcome back to another VO podcast. Another VO podcast. These things just keep coming out every week. I don't know what the crap's going on with that. Anyway, look at that. Isn't it amazing how my voice can come out of him? It's
crazy.
Blows my mind.
Dubbing. Live
Charles,
dubbing happening.
Alden, Jake. How's it going, guys?
It's going
Hey.
good.
Super
And for those of you a little
good,
confused,
man.
I was mouthing along with what Troy was saying in the beginning of that.
Yeah, that's what we
For our
do.
listeners.
Yeah,
We are
mouth. That's what we do. We mouth off all the time.
We do. We're the king and the kings of agitation. I think we're pretty good at that, and we do it all in fun. We have a lot of fun with it. You guys having a pretty good week so far?
Oh,
I mean, sure. I mean, like, I'm happy-go-lucky. I'm happy doing what I'm doing, but it's been a slow month. I'm not going to lie. I have not booked anything yet this month. I did just get paid for one of my bigger agency jobs, so, I mean, like, I can cling on to that. Like, money
That's
in's
always
always good.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to
Yeah.
book something before I go out of town on Friday. I'm only going to be gone for the weekend, but right now it's just been a slow month, but I'm keeping positive, and I know it's going to come back around.
Yeah,
Yep.
I get
Yep.
that
Yep.
for sure. For sure. I Charles got me started on this where I'm tracking, whatever I book that day, and that helps. But like
Goal
you're saying,
setting.
Jake, it's what comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're looking at. Where am I at for the month? What's coming in? I was just looking a minute ago. I usually have quite a bit in my accounts receivable where money's coming in. And I looked just a minute ago, there's not a ton in there. So, but I'm hitting my booking target. But what happens is these are people that pay quickly.
Yeah.
So I may book it on Monday and they pay on Wednesday, or book it on Tuesday, they pay on Friday or whatever. So hopefully it'll balance up, but I'm with you. It's a little bit odd, but the auditions have been good. I've seen a lot of good auditions this week, and just hopeful, just keep grinding. It's what we do. And speaking of that, when things get this way, there is something you can do. And this is not only for us, this is for if you're new, if you're brand new into being a voice actor, and you're like, where in the crap am I going to get work? I can't, I'm not booking anything on these pay-to-plays. I'm trying. I've done 200 auditions. I'm striking out. I'm not having any luck here, there, everywhere. I don't have agents yet. What can I do? And today we want to talk about your local market and your local marketing, homegrown marketing, and some things you possibly can do if you have time to get out and do that. And Charles got me started on it because he talked about bartering and some things he did early. Let's start right there, Charles. Jump right in and tell us some things you did.
So one of the things I did was, now this wasn't out of, I didn't have enough work. This just came as like, I don't know, like I grew up in Missouri. We're always used to swapping stuff for things. It's like, hey, I got a TV. You want to mow my lawn? I got this old TV that's been sitting in the garage. Okay, cool. Like somebody goes and mows the lawn, you give them this old TV, or, there's always something that somebody needs. Right. And so I was at my dentist's office.
Want to swap spit?
Yeah.
Didn't see that one.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. That sounded Missouri-ish to me. Or was it Missouri?
about that.
I don't know.
I don't know what parts of Missouri you're talking about, but
Oh my
I've only been to
God.
a couple. I don't know.
no. So I was at my dentist's office, and my dentist is awesome, and he always asks me every time I go in. He's like, "Hey, what have you been working on?" It's just the thing that we do is cool. It feels super cool. And so we were just talking about it, and I was like, have you done, like, do you advertise? Like, do you do any advertisements? And he's like, yeah, I do. He goes, I do some on the radio. And he goes, but and I was like, have you started like a YouTube channel or something for your practice? And he's like, we're kind of thinking about it. And I was like, well, if you ever want to do like if you ever want to do some explainer videos or little segments or something like that, or animations or whatever, I was like, let me know, and we'll just trade services if you want to. I'll just give you, I'll charge what I normally charge people, and then you charge me what you normally charge people, and on the back end we're getting a deal anyway because of the markup, and then we're getting services, and I'm basically paying for it with my voice, and he's getting it paid for, or he's getting the service for his services, right? So no actual physical money is lost. But yeah, so that's what I do, and I don't pay for my dental services.
That's what's up, dude.
Yeah,
that's what's up.
Nice.
And if there's an excess, he just keeps it in there, and then every time I go up to the counter, the lady's like, "Okay, you're all taken care of," and I was like, "Sweet."
So let me ask: is getting paid is like pulling teeth sometimes?
Were you waiting after the moment? He's like, wait, he barters with the dentist? How can I add? What joke? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was good. You were waiting for that, though. As soon as he said dentist, he was like, okay, how can I
Alden gets quiet, and he's like looking down. He's got his pen. You see the top of his pencil moving like
yes.
Yeah,
I didn't hear anything you said. Exactly. I was waiting for the spot to do that joke.
Yeah, that's good.
So now that he's done the joke, repeat everything you just said so Alden can catch up.
No, I got it.
Yeah, but I mean that's something I've done. I have done voiceover for, well, the TV was just, I used an example, but I did some radio spots for a lawn company, and that was like 2 years ago, and they mowed my lawn for, I think it was like 5 mows.
Oh, that's like
like 40, 50 bucks a mow.
Yeah.
They come and mow and edge and put their stuff down and all that stuff. So
that
was pretty cool.
Are you allowed to tell the story about your DAW?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I use Adobe Audition, and I had, back in the day when I first started, I was like, I want to know.
Really early on for you.
Yeah, this is really early on. And I was like, I want to know, I never saw what an actual audition looked like, or an actual recording of some script. And so I was on Reddit, and Reddit has RPAN, which is kind of like their live. And I was like, well, I'm just going to read. I'm going to get permission from one of these YouTube videos, like top 10 facts or whatever I did a long time ago, and see if it's okay if I record that, on the thing. And so he was like, yeah, it's fine. You can read it. You can record it. So I had RPAN on, and I was reading through, I think it was top 10 Bigfoot facts. Like, it was lame. And this person, and I was using Adobe Audition, but like the free trial version. And this guy had messaged me because I had mentioned, I was like, oh, and I'm using a new DAW, and it's pretty good. Right. And so this guy messaged me. He's like, hey, my name's so-and-so from Adobe. And and he goes, I'd love to just like jump on a call with you and, take like maybe 30 minutes of your time. And I just want to know what, from a voice actor's standpoint, how the process works. He's like, not just the recording, but like from the beginning, like, where do you get your stuff? How do they send it to you? And to the end. And he goes, you've been using Adobe Audition, the free version, for a little bit now. And if you had any feedback. Right. And I was like, cool. So, and he's like, I'd compensate you. Right. So I was thinking like, okay, well, maybe like give me like $30 or something, I'll take it for talking to somebody for 30 minutes.
Yeah. And
so we jumped on the call. We ended up talking for like an hour and a half. He's a super cool guy. And they're working on a beta version for something. And I told him stuff like, it would be great if we could take a Word document and drop it into Adobe Audition. And there's a little screen up top that has the words, not the whole thing, because you can't see it all, but as you're talking, it tracks the words and it highlights it like a teleprompter. And then you can, like, if you stop or you click or you do something and then you start from it jumps back to that. So, just things like that. And I was like, in the history, like it says dynamic process, but like you don't know what that was exactly. So it'd be cool if you could see like a little snapshot next to it of like what you actually fixed. And that would help, like, instead of clicking through like, oh, okay, that was the part where I fixed it. Mm-hmm. And then accidentally deleting something or highlighting or copying something and dropping it into someplace else in your history, like here, well, guess what? You make a change here and everything else that you did past that is gone. Right? I think maybe Reaper has a way around that, but Adobe doesn't. Anyway, short story long.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like those listening, he's holding his hand at mid-level and pointing somewhere below there.
Yeah, this is a podcast, by the way.
Where's that going?
Short story long. He's like, hey, Charles, he's like, this was like invaluable to me. He's like, I'm going to take all this information back to my team. And he goes, and how would you like to be compensated? He's like, we can send you some money through Venmo or whatever. And I was like, you guys got like a discount on a subscription, for Adobe Audition? And he's like, I'll tell you what. And he gave me 5 years of free Adobe Audition.
Didn't you say did he give you a code, or did he go, tell you what, what's your username or something? And then he went back on his side or something?
No, that's what he did on his side.
Yeah. So he went and found your account and did some like ninja stuff. That's crazy.
So 5 years, dude. And that's what, I don't even know how much it is a year, but I know it's expensive.
I mean,
$25 a month.
Okay. $25 a month.
Yeah.
So I just saved $25 a month for 5 years.
That's $300 a year, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 60. Yeah.
And that was a bartering thing. That's bartering my time for something that I could use in my business, so
for sure. Yeah.
So definitely, if there's, just think of those opportunities, those local opportunities, because they're out there, and
you
people
got to start
need the services,
realtors,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere. If nothing's working for you and you're having trouble getting off the ground, if you can go do this stuff, now you have some samples. Now you have some work that you can tell people about. And sometime, I'm a big believer, work begets work. The more work you do, the more work you get. It seems to work out that way. And I've done the same thing. Some of it barter, some of it not. I went to a local radio station and offered for nothing. If you'll just give me some spots to read, I'll read them, get them right back to you. I don't care. I just wanted to do stuff. And that's how it started for me. I did a couple of furniture stores and during COVID, I did some PSA announcements for the station and blah, 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 blah. It didn't last very long, but it was stuff I could do and they would send it to me and I could use it because they would produce it and then send it back to me.
Yeah, real cool.
My big barter was I went to a screen printer who advertised on that radio station who said, they only have 2 people up there and I'm tired of those same 2 people doing all the commercials. Would you do my commercials? Sure. So we put a plan together and all my VO Life t-shirts, all my printed material I get, I barter with her. So I'll go up there and order 30, 40 t-shirts and she puts it on the books. And then during the year, I do her spots for radio and we take off, $100 here, 150 there, whatever. And it all washes out. And I get all that stuff basically for nothing, in a way. And then I just do the spots and it helps. But you can market. I'm in a very industrial town. There's a lot of manufacturing here, a lot of distribution. And the funny thing, I went to a few of them trying to do their IVR or their voicemail or whatever you want to call it. And they said, no, we just can't put a Southern accent on there. Wait a minute. We're right here in the middle of Tennessee. Why can't you do that? Well, our parent company is up north and they would rather us have this. So you could run into some roadblocks. But on the other hand, I think the doctor, lawyer, dentist, veterinarians, even your local, if there's hardware stores and whatever, they're likely advertising somewhere, even on Facebook. You could do a 15-second Facebook thing for somebody. There's so much you can do like that. And the barter system is awesome. Use it.
Yeah, definitely.
Am I mistaken? I had heard of someone doing this before, but I think you're actually one that went through with it. Didn't you go to your Chamber of Commerce and take like a Bluetooth speaker and show people? I did. I did that. I'm a member of the Chamber, and there's another bartering thing. I bartered my membership. They have an annual strawberry thing here. I don't think they call it Strawberry Festival anymore, but they call it whatever they call it. And I do a 15-second TV spot for them. I do the video and the audio. I swap that for my chamber membership. And then I also do a podcast for them, which now it's down to, we do 2 a month and we interview local business people for about 12, 15 minutes. Do you get
Doesn't
any kind
take
of
much time
for that?
I don't get compensation on it, but it allows me to go to the networking events, take a Bluetooth speaker like you were talking about, and people are like, what do you do again? And I'm like, all right, they're going around the table. I'm Joe, and I'm the HR manager for so-and-so manufacturing and blah, 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 blah. And I'm so-and-so, and I work for so-and-so temp staffing. And they get to me, and I put the Bluetooth speaker in, and I go, I'm Troy. I'm a voice actor. Here's what I do. Hit the play button.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it plays my commercial demo. And everybody's sitting there listening, and their eyes are big, and they're like, wow, that is so cool. And then you can tell them, I can also do corporate narration training. I can do this, that, and the other, so yeah, I've booked a little work off of that. Not a ton.
But that's sweet, though. That's like still, I mean, like, look, booking something in the most random way than outside of the box, like that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
And it's good to be involved locally, because here's what happens off of that. And this is I'm starting to see some. You get you get a few people who go, there's a concert venue here. It's an old movie theater they rebuilt, and the live announce. So they've reached out to me about doing the live announce.
Mm-hmm.
I've hosted some chamber events to where award dinners where I was the live voice. Well, they comp me a $35 ticket to get in and a very nice steak dinner that went with that. Hey. And plus I'm back in front of people again. And I was already, a lot of people in the community knew me because I ran a couple of large facilities here, and people knew who I was in the business side. But now that I'm doing this, they're like, wait a minute, that's a guy that used to run the plant over there. What's he doing?
Now
and it garners conversation. Yeah.
Big Shot voiceover guy.
It just garners the conversation, and it's good. I mean, I think it's good to put that footprint out there. And I'm supposed to do similar to what you guys are doing with your workshops. I'm supposed to do a thing for career day at the high school. So I'll set up and talk about voiceover and how you can go into it as a career.
That'll be cool.
And that'll be interesting because, to me, high school kids are going to be more fascinated than adults, maybe.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, I think that's putting yourself out there. Getting noticed, because remember, in this business, it's not like you getting a job from this person. I mean, there is that, but then there's so much of this person heard you, and then this person knows this person, and then this person has a need, and then they're like, oh, well, the person that I know is this guy talked about this guy's guy, which is Troy, right? Or one of us. Right. And that's the thing. Like, you go to those Chamber of Commerce events, you put your, I think it's genius that you just said, hey, my name's Troy, this is what I do. Bam. And it's so different from everybody else's stuff. Right. And it's so like, whoa, like, okay. And maybe, you have some local spots, you have some national spots, and they're like, yeah, okay, this is the guy that did the voice for all the cotton patches. Yeah, I want that voice. Or maybe they don't have it. But then later on, 6 months down the line, they're talking to a buddy that's like, yeah, I'm opening up a chain of restaurants. It's like, dude, I got the guy that could be the voice for you. Hold on. Here's his information. You know what I mean?
Right. You never know.
Because you actually did something that wasn't the norm, right? Wasn't just waiting for an audition to come in, or wasn't waiting for something. It's like motion. You like moving forward and putting things into action is what gets you. Was what's going to get you work. It's going to get you known. It's going to get you work. It's going to make connections. It's going to do all those things.
I don't know if you guys. I mean, I think we all know who Jen Greenfield is, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Literally a couple months ago, she posted something. You guys ever get those text messages from your politician? Hey, Alden, what's up? It's so and so. I just wanted to see if you'd be in the voting booth. Coming and whatever. So Jen gets one of those in a text message, and then she responds back, "Hey, thanks for reaching out, blah, 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 blah. And also, I'm a voice actor. Let me know if there's anything I could ever help with your campaign for." And they wrote back and they said, "Thanks, Jen, we'll be in touch." I don't know if anything ever came out of that, but I mean, like, literally right there, took an opportunity, like an everyday opportunity to
always selling,
yourself.
always selling.
Yeah, and that's the point of this. You have to put yourself out there constantly. Don't be afraid of that. I will flash back to my first VO Atlanta. Right when I got back, that was when I started being harassed by good old Sabrina Farrows, and a lot of that was, "Oh, look at you walking around with your logo on your shirt. Who gives a crap?" Blah 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 blah. Well, you know what? I wanted people to tie that to me. I want people here locally to tie voice actor to me. There are a few other voice actors nearby here, but this town's not going to know it because I'm going to make sure I'm in front of them as much as I can be. And, what I can do is expand over. There's another place close to here. It's a little larger called White House, Tennessee. They have a really good relationship with our chamber. So my next step is, hey, can you guys here in Portland get me into the White House chamber? Can I go to one of their meetings and talk about what I do? Because there's more businesses over there. They're closer to Nashville, and now and then you ease into, well, maybe now I go to Goodlettsville. It won't be a ton of business, not likely, but these connections lead to connections, and that's what you have to do. It's not just networking with fellow VO people. You got to network, period. It's not who you know. It's
you got to network with people.
People, period. Yeah. All of them, whether they're VO, whether it's, and people, well, I just want to talk to agents and I just want to. No, this works everywhere. Somebody knows somebody that needs what you do. And the more you put it out there, the more chance you have. And especially if you're starting up or you hit a dead end, things are slow. I'm not busy today, then get out of the house, go to your, your doctor's offices and whatever, and walk in and give them a card or whatever you have and say, hey, I do this, take a listen.
And I think if you walk into businesses, and do that, like, if you've never done door-to-door sales, like, you're not used to rejection, right? Or if you haven't been in a job where you're not used to rejection, it might be a little tough at first. But I'm telling you, you go in there and you're not always going to get, sure, yeah, we'd love you for a voiceover. Yeah, great. And then they make a deal. Like, don't go in with that expectation.
Right.
But just go in there because a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, sure, we'll take your card. I'll give it to the owner.
Just make the connection.
Or I'll give it to our corporate office because we don't do any of the stuff. I was talking to a car dealership. I went and got my Jeep done at a Dodge dealership in Fort Worth. And I was like, who does your commercials? And like, nobody on the sales floor, they had no clue.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Nobody knows because that's done through corporate, that's done through management and whatever. So you might not always run into the person that's in charge of whatever, but they can, if you're lucky, they'll pass that information on to whoever does.
Or
and
if
you're
you
lucky
have a
from
number
there,
for corporate that you could, maybe call to,
for
sure.
So
a lot of times they're in a group, an automotive group and whatever, and you got to go to that.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Don't be afraid to ask, and don't be afraid to ask, who do I need to talk to? Because you'll get to that person. People in general want to help you. In general, there's always the exception. I know I was cold calling the other day, and and for me, cold calling, it starts out, I'm like, I really don't want to do this.
Cold calling.
But once I make the first call, I'm okay. Yeah. Once I get, because I usually, for some reason, I usually end up with a nice person on the first call, and they're very nice and receptive, and and I may not get anywhere with it, but they were nice, so I'm inspired to go to the next one. Well, I was on about call number 8 or 9. It was a car dealership, and the guy was so standoffish and such a jerk. And I got to him because he supposedly was the marketing guy. He was the one that made these decisions. And right when I started asking the questions I needed to ask, he just got very defensive. Like, I don't share that kind of information. I don't,
Well,
and I'm like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't, I'm not trying to push or pry. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to get to the people that actually do the spots. I'm not
to get to the important
I'm
people.
trying to find the production house.
And find out you're already with the production house.
That happens. Yeah. But he was like, oh, I don't want to just be funneling people to them. Like, there's 25 people calling him a day. I was probably the only person that ever
probably not
him.
used to being called by someone who voices commercials.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, but what?
Have you guys ever done much cold calling?
I tried it last year, towards the end of last year, and it's just not. I don't like it, and it's not about talking to people. It's just like it's hard to get somewhere because
it is.
Nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything, and then when you get in touch with someone, they're like, that's not really what we do.
And on the other hand, they all have caller ID. and they see your number and they go, I don't know who that is, and they won't answer it. I run into that.
And then they look at mine,
anything.
they're like, Missouri? Nah,
straight
I'm
to,
not even picking
straight to
this up.
voicemail.
Somebody in
Straight
marketing
to
that doesn't
voicemail.
want to talk about their company or product. That blows my
I
mind.
know. I just.
Hey, Alden, didn't you say you had a local client as well?
I have a local client that, it's funny, I met him playing disc golf on the disc golf course.
Oh, sweet.
And
I love it already.
this guy, he's a huge extrovert, big sales guy, and always, working in some kind of marketing. And he, one of the biggest things he does is he works in mortgage insurance. And so that marketing is a way that they send out a mass mailer, then they have his contact information, and they don't have to, call him. He'll reach out to them if they fill out this information. Anyway, we were just talking about what I do, and he wanted a new voicemail, so we kind of ducked down behind a tree, and I just did a real quick voice message for his business on his phone, and
Oh, really?
it's just kind of a side fun thing, and he just thought that was great, but we had to hide behind a tree to kind of get away from
Block
the
the
wind.
wind and stuff.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
he just thought that was great. Well, he got really interested in wanting to use me in some of the marketing videos, and they had this animation video that corporate had put out, and the voiceover was good, not great, I would say.
Alden's
But
so
he
nice.
wanted his info at the end of the marketing video, at this end of this animation video. So he went through all the channels, and he got permission from the main office to use that video and to make a new voiceover with new production, and to have his business card at the end so he could promote his business. And he asked what I would charge to do that. And I gave him a price. We came to an agreement, and he hired me to do it. And he's used me for, I think he sells vitamin supplements as well. And he's just always looking to sell. And voiceover is marketing. You use it for marketing. And so we've had a valuable relationship for me. He's hired me multiple times to do things like that. And
Awesome.
and at the
I've
same
seen the
time,
branding.
yeah, he's branding
VO
himself
Bush.
with my voice. Yeah.
Theo Bush.
Oh, geez.
But it's just kind of interesting how that worked out. I never saw that coming. I never thought that was a way to get a client, but I was able to redo to use the same video, strip all the audio off of it, like we do, and add new music and sound effects and my voiceover for this explainer video that just told him what their business is. And then put his business card up at the end at like a big splash screen in PowerPoint, and give his name and contact info in my voice.
Nice.
And he loved it. Absolutely loved it.
This reminded me, you said the voiceover that was on there before was good, but not great, right?
Yeah.
There was something that made me feel good. There was a lady that I did, it's an educational thing, and it has a couple different characters, right? And I recorded my stuff and sent it to her, and she's like, I'm kind of running into a problem. And I was like, well, what's that? Like, is my audio not right or something right? She's like, no. She goes, your audio is so good that it makes the other people sound like their audio is horrible. And so she asked me, she's like, can you tell me what's your setup, and how are you recording this? And I told her, and you know what it came down to? Their space.
Yep.
Because when she found out where they were recording, and it was their space.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I was working on some email marketing this morning early, and by clicking on the website, watching the production house, the types of things they're doing. And I'm always looking for people that are doing some outdoor stuff or construction or whatever like that. So I try to knock those out. But I was playing one, and exactly what you're saying, the audio was terrible. The video was beautiful, but the audio, I could hear every time the person would come in to start talking, you could hear the, and then they'd start talking like Florida
noise
was
was probably super high or something.
Yeah, everything was terrible on it. So you're in that thing of, I could really offer you a lot better audio, and I could offer this and that, and but you got to be careful with that too. But in your, I guess what I'm trying to get across with this whole thing is if you've hit a dead end, or if you're new and you're trying to figure out what can I do to get things started, this is really a pretty cool way to do it. We're all pretty much proof you can do it. It works. You may not book anything that pays much. It may not pay anything. You may barter. You may do this or that. But if you're stuck and you're new, or if you're stuck, you've been at this a little while, do something to kind of make you feel better. And this will, because going to these chamber things that I go to, it really makes you feel good about what you do, because we're all unicorns. We just saw by being in Atlanta, there were 1,000 people there, but and Charles, you may have noticed this as I did. There were a boatload of new people there.
Yeah, there was a
that I
ton
have
of
not
new people.
seen the past 2 years. I'm going to say well over half of that 1,000, probably close to it.
Yeah.
And people want to try this, they get into it, and et cetera, and it's very, very hard to break into. But take this as something to do that you can do locally and have fun with it, and go out and meet some people locally and market yourself. Do it. I mean,
I think in the same hand, you say this is something that you should definitely try if you're starting out and you're trying to get some work, and to get some samples, to a way to get samples, also put yourself out there. But in the same hand, I think this is just another line in the water for us too. So even if we're not new and you're not in a slow time, why not? I mean, you're out and about, you're doing stuff. Might as well make that connection too, because hey, I want all the money. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I did that.
I want it all. Like, I'm going to try to get it from everywhere I can, because, like you said, you never know where that connection could lead you to in the future. How many stories have you heard about, voice actors saying, "Oh, like famous ones that have done big stuff," and they're just like, "Yeah, I was doing this, and this is how I started, and this connect, and it always seems to come down to somebody told somebody." Because I met somebody here, or somebody told this, and they were like, I was just doing this, and who knew that I would be the voice of whatever for the last 10 years?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I did that at the poker house the other day.
Take it.
I did that.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah. So like I last Tuesday I was like, so there's a poker house, I think I've talked about this before, by my house that has a free bullet 3 times a week, and I try to go to every one of them. I typically go to Sunday and Tuesday. Well, last Tuesday, I mean, I was cooking, man. Like I was the big stack for a long time, got that down, but I ended up coming in third. But during the second break, and they were it was just me at the table with the dealer and the floor manager, who was chipping up people because we were, getting bigger denominations. And I just looked at him and said, "Hey, by the way, man, I know you got social media covered," because they just had the biggest YouTube poker content creator buy a stake in there. So I was like, "I know you got social media covered. I don't know if you're planning on running any radio ads or anything like that, but I can produce your audio, and I'm a voice actor. I can produce your audio, and I can do it the same day too. Here's my card." And he was like, "Oh, really?" And he looked at it. He's like, "That's awesome, man." And he shook my hand. He's like, "Thanks for. I'll keep this. Whatever. I don't know if anything's going to come of that, but I mean, that just goes to show you anything. Like that's just a moment that you could turn that around."
Yeah, and if it doesn't happen day of, don't be disappointed.
Yeah, right.
I've had people
like
come back a year
stuff.
later, 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I mean, it's all about planting the seed, and sometimes it takes a seed a while to grow. You just got to water it every now and then.
Germination times differ.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right. Alden, any closing comments?
You hit the pavement, and work begets work. I'll repeat that because that's a nugget that you said earlier, and it doesn't have to be. You go out and you get the biggest job. Just start doing some work and
record something.
Yeah, record something. Even if you have to duck behind a tree to block the wind and record somebody's voicemail for them, I mean that
has to win for the craziest location.
That begat more work.
That's going to pop up on a Facebook thing somewhere. Look at these 2 guys. What are they doing? Who knows? Well, guys, I think we've run it pretty hard for this little topic, and appreciate everybody listening. We always do. Yeah. I've got to. I've just uploaded my Apollo console, and I'm going to try to hook this thing up and see if I can blow my computer up. That's what's going to happen. Hopefully it doesn't, but I'm just going to put it on with no plugins and just see if I can get a solid connection and get it working. And then I'm sure I'll be calling Charles, say, "How do I get this thing on there, and how does that work?" And
then I'll be like, "I don't know," and then we'll just figure it out together. And I'll be like, "This is what I have." Okay, well,
we'll figure it out. Hey, thanks everybody for joining us. For Charles, Jake, and Alden, we will be back again next week. And thanks for being a part of our ride on another VO podcast.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Hasta luego.
See ya.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of It's Another VO Podcast. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. You can also email us your questions to anothervopodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Instagram at Another VO Podcast. See you next time.